So it's the last week of summer. I had summer school, both sessions. It was going into my junior year, and I was super excited because I finally got to go to Hawaii with my best friend and her family. We packed up and everything. We got on the flight and it was perfectly fine. Nothing went bad yet. And then we got there, and as soon as we exited the airport, the sun was so warm, everything was insanely green. It was honestly like the prettiest thing I've ever seen, and I barely stepped foot outside. We drive down to our condo, and across the street's the beach, so it's a small one-way street. You just go across it and you're on like the nice pale white warm sand. Before we went to the beach, we settled into the condo, and her parents have been there before, so they recommended that we go to the shop down the street. So we went with her family, and at the shop there was snorkeling gear, scuba diving gear, there was underwater cameras and paddleboards. I've always wanted to go paddleboarding, so I told her that it was something that we should probably do. Her parents agreed, so we ended up getting the paddleboards, and the night before, that night, I was very nervous, but super excited because I've never done it before, and I don't know, I was just scared something was going to go wrong, I was going to fall. But the next morning, we struggled a little to get the paddleboards downstairs, but we finally did it, went across the street. The sand was super warm, it was the perfect day to go paddleboarding. The water, we look down and it's clear and you can see fishes like swimming by your feet. So on the sand, she decided to demonstrate like how to paddleboard, because there's a specific way on how to use the paddle and how to stand on the board. So after like 10 minutes of demonstration, we put the boards onto the water, and I stood up and I started paddling. And I felt really confident because I hadn't fallen, and I thought I was like 99% sure I was gonna fall. So we started paddling, and I was confident, and I was paddling, and I look back, and that's when I knew something was wrong because the shore looked like this small. And it only felt like I was paddling for like 2 minutes. So I start trying to turn the paddleboard around, and it was kind of hard. And I tried paddling back, and it wasn't working. I felt like it was one of those 1 step forward, 2 step back type things. So I started getting nervous because I'd never done it before, and I was in the middle of the ocean, and she's done it before, but she was having a really hard time getting back to shore as well. We started thinking about how we would be able to get back because at this point my arms were tired and it was sunny, and I started feeling like dehydrated and I didn't know what to do. So she said she would go back to shore, try to find someone or something to help me, and I figured, okay, you know what, if I'm gonna live, this is the best thing possible right now. So I'm sitting on the paddle because my arms and legs are too tired from standing, and I keep trying to paddle because I didn't want to just give up. So I was paddling, and I wasn't wearing my glasses so I couldn't see, but I saw this shadow come from the left of me, and I got really scared because I know there was sharks on that beach. So I started freaking out, and it got closer and closer, so I decided to put my arms and legs inside the board as well as the paddle, because if it was a shark, I wouldn't want it to think that something was a fish and come try to attack me. And I started freaking out more and more because it got closer and closer and closer. And I tried not to look at it, but I was too scared, so, had to look at it. And it was just like a huge black blob. It kept getting closer and closer and closer. And I was looking down, it peeked its head above the water, and it was just a scuba diver. His name was Dan. He asked what I was doing out paddleboarding on high tide. I said I had no clue it was high tide. I've never been here before. It's my first full day. And he asked if I needed some help, so I said yes, please. I ended up sitting on the nose of the board, and it took about 45 minutes. He was pushing the board behind me, and I finally got back to land. My friend was about halfway when I met Dan, so she decided to turn back and come with us. I don't know why, but she didn't really help. She kind of made situations worse by her talking. But I finally made it back to shore, and I lived. It wasn't the worst experience I've ever had, I guess. I still paddleboard to this day, and I go all the time in Long Beach. and I'm not bad anymore. I know how to paddleboard. I can survive completely. And that was the time I almost died in Hawaii.